Hello, everybody. It's the Alco Diesel guy, and on the bench is yet another project from March and Tosh. In this case, it's yet another G4 propelled Mac Mini. This one, though, comes to me untested, although apparently some basic testing was done, and it was found that the person who tested it could not get the image on the screen, couldn't get any video output, etc. So, anyway, I'm going to take this thing apart and see what it looks like before I give it a whirl. Again, I bought it as is. Before I go any further, I should note the box this thing came in didn't look all that great when I got it. As you can see, it got a pretty nasty knock there and got squashed. So I don't know what this is. You're seeing this as I am. I'm going to try opening up this. Don't know what it is, I should say, in terms of its condition. So I'm going to go ahead now and actually open up the bubble wrap here and see what I'm working with, if I'm working with anything, considering the kind of knock it took. Let's see what we got here. It is wrapped thoroughly in bubble wrap, so hopefully that saved it. Though I think I'm being a little bit too overconfident that it wouldn't have suffered any damage at all. Okay. Alrighty, and here we are. Well, on the outside, looks pretty good, actually. Doesn't look like it did any damage. And looking at the back here, it is that model number. This is the lower end. What is this rated? I think it was rated at a 1.25 gigahertz. This is the lowest end model of the G4s. They made up to a 1.5. The last one I worked on was a 1.47. I'll update on that model. I did, and I'll probably post this in that video as well. I was actually able to successfully get the graphics situation solved. It turned out to be a combination of corrupted program files and the fact that the video memory was shot. Although I'm still having problems with it. I can't get the audio to work quite right on it. But, yep, still working on that. Don't know what's going to happen with it. May look for another one and use it as parts. I haven't made up my mind. But anyway, this is what I have right now. So before I go any further, I'm going to try to see if I can get this to display an image. It might be that the person was using the wrong adapter, as the Mac Mini puts out a very unusual video scan. If you don't have it set up correctly in terms of its settings, it'll give a very unusual video signal out, and not all monitors will reach that through a HDMI to DVI port, especially if it's a non-active, if it's a passive one. That is to say, there's no electrical chips helping to decode the information. It's just passing everything through. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to try to see if this thing will do any kind of image on my monitor. And I'm going to use a type that is less sensitive to this, and we'll see what happens, and we'll take it from there. Okay, I have her rigged up onto my monitor connection via this VGA output, because this type monitor I have here, which is an HP model something or other, does not support DVI, so I'm going to use this VGA to DVI adapter to make it work. Again, first fire up. I didn't even hook up my keyboard. I just want to see if I get an image out of this thing at all. Anywho, without further ado, smoke test. Here we go. Okay, that's encouraging. A little crackle in the speaker, but the speaker, for the honest of the project I would use this for, is not critical, because it wouldn't actually work for it. No image on the screen like I was told. I do hear the hard drive. Oh, I've got something. Ain't looking too good, though. Yep, it looks like this thing definitely has a problem with its video card. So yeah, I've got a very corrupt image on the screen, which tells me there's a problem with either the video port or the video card. Now, there's another way I can troubleshoot this. I have a type video adapter that runs on a USB port, although that won't help me too much here. It will at least let me tell what's going on, although I can tell this thing is booting from the noise it's making. Let's go try pulling it in and out. I'm looking at the video adapter. It looks like I don't see anything wrong with it per se. Seller claimed that they could not get any kind of image out of this thing. As you can see, I'm getting an image that's just very corrupt. It is definitely booting up, but yeah, I can't do anything with that image. So let me do a little research and see what's going on here if I can. Okay, interesting development. It went from that corrupt image to this blank white screen, which is interesting. Don't know why it would do that suddenly, unless it was fixing something. That is very weird. It went from a corrupt screen that didn't look good. Now it's flickering like crazy. It's making some kind of adjustments. I don't know if that means I'm going to get an image on the screen suddenly here. Well, there goes another one of those troubling lines on the top. It looks like it's trying to load something, and the image is corrupt because the graphics card is destroyed. Again, I bought this knowing that there was a problem with video out, and it's listed to me as not operating, so if I can't figure this out, that's going to be the end of it. Let me see if I can find that USB adapter and see what happens when I plug it in. Alrighty, I've decided to get back on this Mac Mini with the gray screen. I originally gave this thing up for dead a little while ago when I found it gave a gray screen no matter what I did. Up until more recently, when I tried to get another Mac Mini working that was an Intel variety that did the same thing, and what I did there, in addition to changing the RAM, which I had tried on this, I also changed the hard drive, and it magically came to life. So I'm going to give this thing a shot. I have that hard drive from the other Mac Mini, which I sort of have working now. The graphics card issues seem to be gone on that, but the sound is still very weak. I'm going to go ahead and swap that into this unit and see if I can get this to work. So without further ado, I got the top off. Let's go grab a screwdriver that will fit that. Get one screw out. It's kind of dusty in here. I might want to try to blow some dust out if I do get this thing working right. Let's also take this antenna off, although this antenna is kind of useless on these, as I find. This is still hooked up. Let's go and get this thing done here. I never had this one apart again. It never started. That's why. Be very careful not to force anything out. Oh, it looks like these... Looks like someone was in here before me. There, hopefully, I think it may have been me, but there was no screw in that hole. Let me not strip the screw. That'd be really good. Well, I think I made contact this time. Okay. Ah, there we go. I think I got it. There we go. Up it comes. Didn't like the sound it just made. I've never had this thing open. I've had the sister to this engine, to this one open, but not this one. This I pulled off, and it still doesn't want to come up. Okay. I can now move this safely over here. Here's the Bluetooth card on this sucker. Okay, the hard drive is located underneath the actual main section right over here, as well as some screws, which I just knocked out, which because I'm not paying attention. I'm just going to let them fall where they do. I'm not going to put all the screws back, because I really don't think this is going to work. If you look at how dusty this thing is in here. Ugh. Here's the hard drive that is installed currently on here. I'm going to pull this out. I'm not even going to put all the screws back in it. Because again, this is just a test to see if this thing is in fact working. I sincerely doubt it is. But I can't resist doing it since I have the part. Ooh, that's stuck in there good. I may as well try it. You can tell the factory did a good job of over-tightening these screws, which is making them very hard to get loose. There we go, that one's loose. It's starting to screw up. Let's get a bigger screwdriver on this. Nope, that's no good. Where did I put the massive screwdriver I had here 10 seconds ago? I think this one will work. Here we go. This one in here. This screw I'm not even going to bother reusing ever again. Pardon me, I'm going to go off camera here, folks. Just need to... Not worth it. I had to take that off camera and put a lot of pressure to get it to turn. It finally did turn. It's gone. I don't even want to know that it exists because it's stripped. And now I'm going to go on this side too. Now I have to take these out. And oh boy, look at this. More rust. So this got exposed to moisture. Hopefully it wasn't bathed in water. It does not inspire confidence. Have to try to soak these in vinegar, I guess, afterward. I really don't like how rusty they are. This isn't like this was ever taken apart. It's really a mess. Corroded screws, corroded this, corroded that. My God, everything's corroded on this piece of junk. So I can get access to this screw now, which is what I did that for, and take this out. Not to dinner, but to actually physically remove it from my hard drive, from its cage, rather, my hard drive from its cage. So there it goes, couple of turns, couple of turns. Now this should come out, but it's really not playing nice. There it goes, finally. It was really stuck in there good. This whole thing looks like it had exposure to humidity. Let's see what we're removing here. I'm taking out a 100 gigabyte hard drive. And what's going in there is only a 60, which is interesting. This is a Seagate. The one going in there is a Hitachi Defter. I'm just going to use this because I have nothing else to work with at this point. I know it works because I wouldn't have put it in that protective static bag thing, and if it didn't. If it works, great. If it doesn't, well, not so bad anyway, because I didn't spend anything on this. Ooh, gotta be very careful not to break the pins on this thing. Just see if this thing will fire up. Okay, can you say, the word for today is awkward. Can you say awkward? Ugh. That is one unusual place to put a screw hole on this thing, but it was working. And I just dropped one of my screws on the floor. There it is. That should do well enough to hold this together for what I need it for. Now I got to carefully reinstall this thing here. And goes right in like that, if I remember correctly. Yes, it does, or something like that. I just need to grab my other screw, which fell on the floor, and put these back in place, which are rusty on the head, so I got to be careful. Joys of working on vintage computers. Not. I probably should have checked this sooner, but let me check it now. Oh, yea, verily, this is right. This 'tis right, or whatever you'd like to call it. All right, so I'm going to try now reassembling this heap and see if it works. Let's go put this whole thing back together. I'm just going to put one screw in for the time being, because I really have my doubts this thing is going to actually work. I will at least blow some of this dust off. I mean, this is just ridiculous how much this thing is accumulated. Very clearly, no one ever had this thing open, especially considering how hard it was for me to get those screws loose. I mean, usually that's a good thing. I mean, at least in most cases, but in this case, it certainly isn't. In fact, I think I'm going to use... I wasn't expecting to do that, but there's so much of this junk in here. Be careful not to knock the vias out, but I'm told that this will actually not do it, so I will test that theory. Even the bottom of this motherboard, you can tell it's all rusted out, is all like rusty and stuff and crap and whatever you want to call it. Okay, took a lot of the dust off, not all of it, but most of it. That should make this a little bit better than what it was. Noticeably better, in fact, there's a lot of dust in there. Wow. You can tell this thing, again, has never been out. Never apart. This is the first time it was ever taken apart since it left the factory. No one did any upgrades to this whatsoever. It is bone stock. And it ran very hard, as I can tell by all the dust and all the other things I'm finding, including the corrosion on the screws. These motherboard screws are another example. They're all rusty. So I'm being very careful with how I'm dealing with this thing. I'm going to now attempt to get the thing back together. Let us go and route this cable through here, as it is supposed to be, so I can get through the top. And then place the edge connector down on the top, back here. It doesn't go through there like I thought it does. I don't know why I keep thinking it does. So how does this thing go through here? Ugh. I may just remove this thing or just let it get trapped. I don't care, because I'm not going to use it anyway. Bluetooth doesn't work with Mac OS 9. Just let's go down and get going here. Ugh. There we go. It's in. I'm not going to even bother with the screws. I'm just going to fire her up and see if this thing fires up and works or catches fire. Who knows at this point. Okay, I got everything rigged up temporarily here, a bit half-assed. I did, in fact, put a screw in here. I couldn't deal with it myself, the idea I wouldn't do it, so I went ahead and did that. Well, I did trap the wire underneath the fan. That's nice. Anywho, let me just give this thing a try and see if it actually fires up or not. Oh, actually, no, it's not the fan. The fan's back here. At least I think it is. Anyway, let's see if this thing will actually fire up. Hit the power button. Again, we're using spinning rust again on this. See what happens. I don't think it'll boot because this has a newer version of the OS on it. Not getting any kind of output yet from it. My other computer's in the process of updating Windows, so let's see if I can get this monitor to cooperate, and it's not doing anything. This is not a very encouraging start. Oh, VG active. I'll hold it. It's detecting something. Yeah, saying gray screen. Okay, so maybe not. Oh, let's see what happens with the optical drive to see if that does something. It sounds like it's coming to life. I don't know. Let's go Rangers, I guess. I don't know. That's very encouraging. The screen is still blank, but that could just be the system's booting into the operating system via the drive. Seems to be having a little good long conversation. Again, I'm getting what I did before. I get this little black square on the top, like I don't know what that's supposed to be. Then it disappears. This will be the last time I try this. If it doesn't work, I'm going to just strip it for parts at this point. Especially considering the condition I found the internals on this thing. So let's see what happens. Still waiting. The screen's flickering like crazy. Again, not really showing a lot of good... Not giving any encouraging signs at this point. Still making all kinds of racket. Still running. Just kind of, I don't know what's doing its thing. Oh, screen just dimmed. Let's see what that's a good... Nope. Out of range. That's usually what it does when the Mac OS boots up. But I'm not seeing anything on the screen except this corrupt image. So if it doesn't do anything soon... yeah, I guess that's going to be it. So it looks like the end result is this thing's a piece of junk. Still gray screen. Still nothing changed. Oh, wait a minute. It's still doing something. It's got this little black spot on the top now. It's changed completely over on the data, but I don't think it's going to do much more than that, if I'm honest. Yeah, I think that's it. So, yeah, didn't solve anything, unfortunately. I don't have a mouse pointer. Well, that's actually my mouse pointer. Oh, boy, this is bad. I can't even see what's on the screen. So, very clearly, this thing is deep-sixed. All right, well, at least I tried. But now I can safely write this thing off as being junk, and I don't have to worry about reassembling it.